All right, here we go. Let's see, we got a comment rolling in already. Looks like we got GM Pat from the fake Orioles already on the line. GM Pat, thanks for coming. We appreciate you coming here to the premiere of Fake Sports Dynasties. Let's talk a little bit about what this show is, but first I want to let you guys know right away that throughout the evening we'll have updates coming in from I know a game everybody's interested in, the Baltimore Blue Caps at 14-4-1 in first place in the entire fake NHL. They are in virtual Madison Square Garden tonight to face the Rangers. Should be a tough game, and players are already out on the ice for warm-ups. I'm going to throw it over to Doc, Eddie, and Ray just to get a quick pregame update, and then I'll be right back here with the rest of the show.
New York's taking care of business here at home. We talk about how important it is to win your home games because it's difficult to win on the road. Let's see if they can go out on the road with a win in their pocket, winning the last game of this homestand.
We direct our attention to the Nets and the starting goalies. The last game was forgettable, but he is coming back here to try and make some more positive memories in this one. Sergei Bobrovsky. Multiple Vezina trophies for best goalie, multiple first All-Star honors, a 41-win season with Columbus, and a big part of his team's league-tying 16-game win streak.
All right, so we got a pretty good game out there, virtual MSG. We'll get back to that in a minute. Doc's going to let me know in my ear whenever there's a game update coming in. But thanks again to GM Pat from the Fake Orioles for jumping into the comments right away. Just wanted to let you guys know, comments are going to be a big part of this show. I'm going to take a minute here and tell you what this show is. If you want to chime in and say anything on Twitter or Twitch in the comments, there's a good chance I'm going to throw it up on the screen. That's what I want this to be, because I've had a really good time using the StreamYard platform to do this type of thing in a few different situations, most recently with GM Pat, who's very excited to see Lundqvist in net for the Rangers tonight. But I've had a really good time doing that with my brother on his OOTP broadcast recently, and I wanted to start something on my own channel to be able to talk about Fake Sports Dynasties. So what exactly is this show? Let me kind of talk about that for a minute, and we'll keep an eye on what's going on up in virtual New York. So there's sports talk radio, and they'll touch on real sports, and they'll touch on fantasy sports, but they don't dive into fake sports much, which is a universe I've basically existed in for like 30 years. Video games that involve sports, and anyone where I can own the franchise and be the general manager and coach the team or have a career mode, have always been interesting to me. Before I had video games, I had Stratomatic Baseball or another game called All-Star Baseball. And then when video games started coming out that let you do more than, whatever the original Atari 2600 did, and you could manage the team, I was super interested in anything like that. To the point that sometimes with these games, even as I became an adult, I would get addicted and have to uninstall them and tell myself I needed a break. My brother and I will never forget getting, I think it was like NHL 94 or something, staying up all night Christmas Eve. And I don't know if we got any sleep before Christmas morning after we got that game on Christmas Eve. Just throughout my life, this has been something I've loved doing with my friends, and I will talk to them about this as much as I talk to them about real sports. I think we got another update, though, coming in now from MSG. I'm going to kick it over to Doc and Eddie there in the booth, because I think we have just a few minutes into the game. I think we've...
The Rangers with possession up the wing. Around through the corner. Loose puck, it went off someone. Looking to Pitlick. Breakaway. Wonderful stop. Score! A ricochet ricochet. Looked like it went off a defender in front. Totally accidental. Totally legal.
The key, once you score one, try and get another. Push them back on their heels. They've got one. Go get two.
Rangers fans sound understandably not at all happy with the early own goal. Crabs are up 1-0 as the general manager of the team. I'm very happy to see that, obviously. So that's what this show is going to be, basically. This is the first one, and I won't be getting any guests on, but I will, if you guys have comments, I'll throw them up onto the screen. But what I'm going to be doing with this is just talking to people about their own sports dynasties. There's people who are all over YouTube that are showing people how to use these different games, that are building amazing ball clubs like GM Pat with the fake Orioles, or, managing career modes, and you can find them all over the place. There's one guy right now, he's playing, I think it's like 40 seasons of NCAA basketball with the college hoops game that came out, like, I forget what year it even was. I think it was like 2014 was the last edition. And there's just so much cool stuff out there that I want to be talking about. And if you have comments, go ahead and throw them in. But I can't believe this. We've already got, it sounds like, another update from MSG. I'm going to throw it over to Doc and see what's happening there.
On to Cronwall. He's got it behind the net. Laid on to Anisimov. Shoots it. Score! A power play goal. And it's a biggie.
All right, already 2-0 Crabs out there at Virtual MSG. We got a question now from GM Pat with the fake Orioles. What sports dynasty on your resume are you most proud of? Man, I mean, right now, the Baltimore Blue Crabs. I love running this team. They're a second-year expansion team playing in the Metropolitan Division. And the first year was rough. They were not good, didn't make the playoffs. And then in their second year, with, I think, the lowest budget still in the entire league. They're like $20 million below the salary cap. They're in first place, sitting at 14-4-1. And now a big part of that has to do with the free agent signing in goal, Bobrovsky. It's pretty incredible what this club has done already. But other sports dynasties, I mean, trying to do an O's rebuild in out of the park baseball is definitely high on my list. And watching GM Pat build his O's dynasty is certainly a big thrill. And I was thinking about, some of my greatest sports dynasties probably were ones that ended up getting erased. There's a good discussion over on the OOTP Reddit boards about what is the best season or franchise you ever had going that got deleted. Like, we've all probably had that happen, especially used to happen way back. Things are better now. But you'd have like your Sega Genesis or whatever, and you'd lose the save on your season as you were in the middle of the playoff run or something like that. Let's see. Here's one from Kevin. What was the first season or sport you played? Stratomatic baseball. Yeah, Stratomatic was huge for me. That was like in the 80s. I had a set. I had the 1983 complete Stratomatic set, and I played, I don't know how many seasons with that thing. I ended up, I would take all the teams and I would draft them and I would create my own league and I would just play that thing for hours. And then I remember like Earl Weaver baseball was probably the one I really got into on a computer for the first time, where I was really, kind of moving away from like the board games to video games where they'd gotten sophisticated enough that you could save a season. I had Stratomatic for a computer. It wasn't very advanced in terms of the graphics or anything, but it was probably, statistically it was okay, but nothing like out of the park baseball is now. So I think, believe it or not, I think there's been another update coming in from MSG. Last time we checked in, Crabs were up 2-0. Let's throw it over there to Doc and the team to see what's going on.
Gathered up by Shattenkirk. The Rangers have it along the side at mid-ice. Flings it. Save. Score! And it's a one-goal game.
That shot is delivered quickly before he can shut down the 5-hole. The puck scoots through before he has a chance to close it up.
All right, so now Crabs only lead 2-1 at Virtual MSG. We'll keep an eye on that one, and Doc will let me know if there's anything else to report. Yeah, Stratomatic, you guys bring up actually an interesting topic, because this is what I wanted to talk about mostly as we kick this thing off, is like, what was the moment you got into fake sports? And for me, it was definitely All-Star Baseball, Stratomatic Baseball, and then eventually moved on to the electronic versions of it. Kenneth is here, big OOTP fan from PF Holden's channel, and he sounds like he might be, I can't tell, Kenneth, you pulling for the Rangers or the Baltimore Blue Crabs in that game? 2-1 Crabs right now, still early in the second period, but yeah, let me know who you're pulling for. And I think, believe it or not, I know we just had an update from the game, but they're pinging me here that we got to cut over to MSG again. Let's see what's going on there.
Not much room. It has been pretty physical, and when there are chances, the goalies have been sharp.
Otten quickly back. Shot, score! And this one is tied.
Oh, that was a critical goal. Now the game is tied, and we'll see who can get the upper hand in the next few minutes.
Unbelievable. I mean, no way that goal should be getting scored if you're the Blue Crabs. I don't know who that was on defense. I think it was, might have been Holden back there. No relation. But there is Nick Holden, who is new this year on defense for the Crabs. I think that was him who got wrapped around on. I mean, I'm going to have to look at the tape later, but no excuses there. And I think we've got some comments coming in now from various viewers about their introduction to fake sports. So I'm going to go ahead and start throwing these up on the screen. So for Pat, video games, a big one was the first EA Sports NHL game that let you manage the season and make trades. Yeah, it might have been, it was around there. It was 94, 95, somewhere in there. But it was the first one where you could be the GM and you could, just do more than kind of pick your favorite team. Like, we played like Blades of Steel. I played that like crazy on Nintendo, but you could just pick, whatever city you wanted and all the teams were the same. Or there was the ice hockey on Nintendo before that, where you could pick like your team and you have like the fat guy and the skinny guy. And then they just started taking things up a notch. The other one I remember back then that was pretty cool at the time was Baseball Stars. Used to let you on the Nintendo, they would let you make trades, I think. I forget how it worked, but that one at the time I felt like was pretty groundbreaking. Kenneth says he just would like a good game and go Crabs. All right, cool. Glad you're on our side. I was a little bit concerned, Kenneth, when you first posted your comment, because I know you're talking about doing a Mets dynasty in out of the park baseball. So I thought maybe we might be dealing with a Rangers fan here, which is fine. Rangers fans are welcome. All fans are welcome, but always good when we get people pulling for the Blue Crabs. And Pat, Tecmo Bowl. Yeah, man, that was huge. Randall Cunningham in that game, I think, wasn't it Cunningham? You could always count on to rush. And then, Bo Jackson was phenomenal in that game. I'm trying to remember the other guys. Bo Jackson was huge. But let me know if you remember any other dudes from that game, because there were definitely specific guys you could get. You'd want certain teams because of the damage you could do with specific guys. And Kevin said it had Stratomatic baseball, basketball, and baseball in the late 60s, early 70s. Sports Illustrated football. I remember Sports Illustrated football and not playing it as much probably as some of the Stratomatic stuff. But I do remember that, and I definitely remember All-Star baseball, the spin baseball game. I still have it in my house and have played that with my own kids. All right. Miles says, I think it was NBA 2K11 for me. Then really got into the simulation side through OOTP 13 and 14 and Football Manager. Yeah, I've gotten into Football Manager only recently. I just what's the new one out? It must be 21, I guess. The one before it, I guess 20. I only got into that just in the last year and played around with it a little bit, but I really like it. It took me a little while to get used to some of it. Mostly just from not having as much experience with soccer as I do with some of the other sports. Baseball and hockey have always been the sports I've been most into. But then, I've played plenty of basketball or football games. I've played FIFA a good bit on Xbox, but then I hadn't really done anything on kind of the managerial side. So that was interesting. And just learning the different systems, the different positions, figuring out, how everything works with transfers and when the windows open up. I do think that, I really think one of the coolest things in sports, though, is with soccer and how you can get relegated. I wish we had that in other sports. I just think it just takes everything to a whole nother level. If we could do that in like baseball and the worst team in the league became a AAA team the next year, something like that would be fantastic. Oh, okay. So Pat was chiming in on the Tecmo Bowl thing. Yeah, QB for the Eagles. So Bo was the first Tecmo Bowl and Randall was Tecmo Super. Is that how it worked? Was there like a second edition, like a Super Tecmo Bowl after the original? I don't remember. I just remember calling it Tecmo Bowl, and I can't recall differences in the game. And I just remember that one we had that we played so much. I think the Giants were pretty good in it too. I think we got another update coming in from MSG. It was a tie game, and let's see what exactly is going on out there now. I'm going to throw this thing over to Doc.
Long lead pass to Martinez. Good defensive read with that one. Passing one off now to Nemesnikov. Good shooting place. They score! 3 straight goals.
The next little bit will be crucial. Now that they've got the lead, how do they play with it?
The Rangers are ahead by 1. They've been wheeling that puck to the net a lot. Over 9 minutes played here in period 2. game was tied. Not anymore.
All right, Crabs have some work to do. Not a good goal by Bob, who's been awesome this year. I mean, that guy's carrying the team. He, rarely gives up more than 2 or 3 goals in a game, and we're about halfway through, and it's 3-2 Rangers. Pat, so Tecmo Bowl was the one that'll Super Tecmo Bowl. I'm going to get this right eventually. Tecmo Super Bowl was the one that allowed you to play seasons. Okay. I don't even really remember that one. Maybe that was after I went off to college and you had that one. I just remember the one game after I deserted you. That may have been how you got by, was with Tecmo Super Bowl. Miles, yeah, I've thought about this. That somebody, I don't know where, either I read this or I noticed it in the settings, that you could do promotion relegation in OOTP, and I've thought about setting up a season that way, and I think that would be really cool. It would, it's interesting to think about how that would work with a sport in the U.S. like baseball, where you have feeder systems. It would throw everything off. If we really tried to do that, you'd have to restructure things, because you'd have a AAA team that would be the affiliate for one other team getting promoted. Their prospects then getting bumped up to the next tier, and then somebody else's top team getting bumped down into the same division, potentially with their AAA team. It would just be different than the way things work in soccer. Kevin, yeah, some soft goals. I agree. That last one, especially by Bob, I have to go back and look, but I feel like the one before that also wasn't great. And if this team's going to win the cup this year, I know we're only not even 20 games in, but I'm hoping we make a run, and it's just, not going to be tolerated. Let's see what's going on out there at MSG now, where it's already 3-2 Rangers, and I think we have another just not good update coming in.
Not anymore. Rangers goal. The Rangers skated up on the side. Skate kick out of the scrum. Snapping a pass to Spooner. On the outside, a shot. Score! He got the post with that one.
This snapshot surprises everybody with that quick release, and he's got himself a good goal.
Yeah, good goal if you're a Ranger. 4-2 now, and it's just not looking great for the Blue Crabs out there. I mean, never say die with the Blue Crabs, though, especially last season. As an expansion team, they got beat up a lot, but they always stayed in the games. They often came back. This year, they've been winning pretty easily most of the time. So let's see what happens now that they're going to deal with some adversity. GM Pat knows something about that, as O's have been facing some adversity this year in 2029. Kenneth says, I want to brag, but my inaugural fake New York Mets season, I like the hashtag, has roared by to 15-15 ending April. Unfortunately, Rene Rivera is pissed in his backup role. He's been getting nasty on Twitter. As long as he doesn't go see a guru, you should be fine. This was the season you started after your season where you started off 13-1, got erased. Is that what this one is? Kenneth, I don't know if you saw it. I posted a comment on one of my brother's OOTP videos today, because there's a thread on Reddit about people who've lost good things to seasons not saving, or corrupt hard drive, whatever it is. So you might want to go in and tell everybody about the 15-1 Mets. There's also a guy right now in a different thread on the Reddits there who has the Texas Rangers off to a 30-1 start. And I asked him to keep us posted, because I really got to see how this thing turns out. I don't ever remember a 30-1 start or anything close to it in any of the seasons I've had. I think like in out of the park baseball, I think maybe like in the teens is what I've started off in, with as far as a winning streak goes. What was it, Kenneth? It was 18-1, and then the next one started 6-12. That's right. You said you had the same exact team, same guys, nothing changed, and your 18-1 season, something happened with the tablet you were playing it on, and then you restarted it, and 6-12. It's the way it goes sometimes. Speaking of things not going well, I'm going to throw it over here to Doc and the boys. Let's see what's going on in this game up at MSG.
That puck cannot go into that section of the ice.
They score! It's only a one-goal game now.
People always zero in on the puck, but if you're going to have great puck support, you better have the guys without it that go to the open ice.
Outstanding play that delivered the pass on his stick. When he got it, he made no mistake to beat the goaltender.
All right, Crabs now within 1 up there. Crazy game. That's a lot of goals, especially, for the Crabs to give up 4. I think that's only happened maybe once or twice in the season already. So keep an eye on things up there. That game's headed to the third period now. Rangers 4, Crabs 3. Rangers came into the game in 4th place. Crabs are in 1st place. And Bob and the boys hoping for a comeback in the third period. So, yeah, Tecmo Bowl, I want to get back to this with Pat. Tecmo Bowl, and then I was trying to think of kind of where it evolved next. Like, when did we make the jump? So we had like Tecmo Bowl, baseball, whatever that one was called, Baseball Stars or something like that. And then we were trying to think of this the other day, Pat. Then it was like there were all the baseball games that came out on Sega Genesis. And I think maybe you had like the very first PlayStation, where there was like triple play baseball. There was, I can't remember who, there was different players had games come out. There might have been like a Cal Ripken baseball or something like that. And then at some point the show came out. I think that might have been the next thing that kind of changed everything, which I got into for a little while. And then I think I even had it on PC. And then whenever we discovered Out of the Park, I kind of shifted over to that for baseball. And then same thing with hockey. It's like once EA Sports came out with that kind of changed everything. And I don't remember exactly what year Madden came out, but around that time, everything just took this huge leap forward. Third period now, and let's see what's going on. It was 4-3. We're early third period now. Let's throw this thing over to Doc and Eddie.
The Rangers are skating it up at neutral ice. Propelled. He scores!
Man, 5 goals. Bob has not done that all year. 5-3 now. Rangers, just about 3 minutes into the third period. So plenty of time for the Crabs to come back, but they need to in MSG, where even though the Rangers are in 4th compared to the Crabs in 1st, Rangers have been tough. So we'll see what happens up there. Pat said, yeah, mid-90s Sega was when my GM career began. Yeah, we were talking about that the other day. I can't remember what it was, what the game was. It might have been triple play baseball, but I do remember it would get erased. You had these other cartridges you had to put in. So you had the game itself, maybe in the top of the Sega or something like that. And this might have been, I think I'm thinking PlayStation. there was that little cartridge that slid in like above the slot where you put the joysticks in, and those things would get corrupted or something would happen. And I do remember one season you were on a tear with somebody. You were in like August with with one of your teams, and not happy when that card got corrupted. Yeah, that was the PlayStation. Those sucked. I remember like hesitating to play seasons because you just felt like you invested so much and then you lost everything you had going. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, the original PlayStation had the memory cards, and those are the ones that had the really like the big issues with them. And Kenneth has one too. Oh, so fantasy baseball is what brought you to Out of the Park. Yeah, I think that happens for people where they get into the fantasy sports and then it kind of transitions over to some of the, especially the simulation based games versus some of the video games. Because Out of the Park is so statistical, so tactical, compared to like MLB The Show, which does have some of that, but it's more about the graphics and the gameplay. I do think there's some crossover there with fantasy sports. So talk to me about your fantasy sports team, Kenneth. When was it that you did that and then you made the transition over to Out of the Park baseball? I'm trying to remember when I first got into Out of the Park. So I know GM Pat got into it first, and he had it on a PC, and I got it on, I think it was definitely the mobile version. I had it on a tablet, and I remember it had certain limitations. It couldn't do anywhere near as much as the computer, but it was still awesome. You could draft, you could trade. You had, I think, one minor league team, and it was enough for me, and it was better than most things I'd played before. And I still remember my brother telling me, listen, if you really like this game as much as it sounds like you do, never download the computer version because you will lose months of your life. And I've definitely had those experiences where like you get one of these new games and it doesn't really happen in my life anymore these days. But when I was younger, you get like a new game, and I definitely remember getting one of the NHL games and starting to play it at night, and I knew a lot of time was passing. But I wasn't sure exactly how long. I was like thinking like, maybe it's 2 or 3 in the morning. And I lived in a house with a couple other people, and my room was in the basement. And I remember going upstairs, and it was light outside. Like people were up. It was on a Saturday or Sunday. People were out in the parking lot of the townhouse community we lived in, just going about their day. And I had just, tried to take a team. It was actually a Baltimore team. This is pre Blue Crabs. I think I named them the Bandits after the old AHL team that was in Baltimore. But I was trying to take them, a first-year expansion team, on a critical playoff run, and time just got away from me like it does in the fake sports world. And it must have been like 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was still playing. So 5-3 Rangers at the Garden. I think we've got one last update there too. Yes, it's late in the game. Looks like the Crabs have pulled their goalie, trying to score 2. Looks like we have a 4-on-4 situation, and Baltimore is also going to pull the goalie. Let's check in with the crew at Virtual MSG.
New York's got it in their own end, hoping for center. Net empty. No! Directing that one to Faust. With a shot. At least he protected his goaltender. Here's a one-timer. Score! Off the iron and in.
So 4 seconds to go, and I did just get word that was the final. 5-4 Rangers. Crabs now have lost 2 games in a row. They only have 5 losses now on the year, about 20 games into the season. So I think this is their first losing streak. 2 games. They had back-to-backs. They lost to the Flames 2-0, and then the next night in action again, tough loss to the Rangers 5-4. They just got down by too much. There was some sloppy defense, some really less than stellar goaltending from Bob, who you can always count on. Looks like first-line defenseman Nate Schmidt for the Crabs was a -4 on the night. Not good. GM Pat might have something to say about that. I don't know if it's time to move him down to the second pairing and go with some more stay-at-home guys in the top pair that tend to play against some of the tougher offensive lines the opponents might throw out there. But 5-4 is the final from virtual MSG. The Crabs fall to the Rangers. Kenneth, talking fantasy sports, you joined a league that paid out 150 to first, 100 to second, and 50 to third. The kicker was last place, paid first. Oh, it was more fun just to play, to stay out of the basement. So, oh, that sucks. Last place has to pay the 150. Yeah, no thanks, man. I don't know if I'd go for that. Pat has a question coming in about Nate Schmidt. What was his Corsi? I don't know. I thought about this. I was thinking about this today, actually. If I get you game film of Crabs, I was hoping you could run some advanced analytics, give me some fancy stats on the club, especially now that we have a 2-game losing streak going. And this is kind of uncharted territory for us in our second year, where we're a winning team now with a losing streak versus last year where we were a losing team that occasionally had a win streak. And I think we might need to up our game. One of the challenges was trying to get free agents to come to Baltimore when you're a second-year team, and you weren't good the first season. We got Bob because nobody else seemed to have the money to pay him, so I got him on a 1-year deal. But right now, we're short some superstars compared to some other clubs, and we'll see. I like this team. They got a lot of I don't know. They're a hard-nosed team. Justin Williams is a leading scorer, currently 3rd in the league. And I think we can hang with some of the other teams. But if we're going to do that really over the course of the whole season and make a playoff run, I think we're going to need your fancy stats. Can you tell the room about your time as head coach of Oklahoma State football? That was another solid, memorable run. Also, another one of those moments where I found myself in the wee hours of the morning managing a fake Sports Dynasty on a video game system while real life was continuing around me, and for all the other people, real life meant sleep. This was a great time, but at the same time, also a big mistake. I'll tell you both sides. The big mistake first. We'll start with this, and then we'll get to the more positive news. The big mistake being when I managed the Oklahoma State Eskimos. Was it the Eskimos? No, Cowboys. The Cowboys. How could I get that wrong? I spent a lot of time recruiting for that team. You'd think I'd remember. So this was when in NCAA football. I can't remember what year this game was out, but they don't make that game anymore. So my brother and my brother-in-law and I had a dynasty going where we took Oklahoma State and just turned him into a powerhouse. We each kind of had different roles. I was awesome at recruiting. We were at the beach together for a week. And I just remember one night my brother-in-law came out of his room where he'd already been sleeping for a while. And I just gave him a thumbs up from the couch. I was still over there recruiting away, trying to bring in a freshman class that would help us make a run at a national championship, which we eventually did win at least one, maybe two. And then I don't know what happened from there because we kind of all went our separate ways and somebody took the PlayStation or the Xbox home, and that was the end of OSU and our run. But that was a great game too. There's 2 games I really would like them to make again. One is the NCAA football game, and the other one is the NCAA basketball game. I think college hoops was considered the better of the basketball games. And I guess was NCAA football, I think was an EA Sports game, if I remember right, because that was the one where you could import your graduating class into Madden, which I never did, but I would love to talk to somebody who did that, because that was always the tough part about those games is that you lose your players and have to just keep recruiting. So you can't, it's not like pro sports and you could sign a guy for a long time. Although that is another part about the fake sports dynasties. When you have that great player and it's finally time for them to retire, or you just can't keep them on your team anymore, and you have to make some tough decisions, much like the tough decision that GM Pat recently had to make about Ryan Mountcastle and his fake Orioles. So yeah, I think I do a pretty good job there on the OSU story, GM Pat. So what I'm going to do for future streams is definitely throw some Blue Crab stuff in. I'm going to try to get some guests on to talk about some of their fake Sports Dynasty experiences. Hopefully get some sit downs with GM Pat. He's pretty busy these days. I know the O's are trying to make a run. They had a rough stretch. Now they're trying to get back in the playoff picture. But keep an eye. If you hadn't, hit subscribe down below on YouTube, or if you're on Twitch, hit the follow button. And I'll keep these streams going, and then line up some guests for some future ones. Just kind of wanted to get on this time and see how it would go with the chat and tell you guys what I had in mind. I really appreciate you guys coming in to check it out. If anybody else has anything to throw in the comments, you've got about 30 seconds left, and then I'm going to shut this thing down. But the last thing I'll just say is I don't know yet how frequently I'll do these, but I'll be on here probably another night soon, usually around 9 p.m. or so Eastern is when it gets quiet in my house, and I can jump on here after a day in the real world and talk about some fake sports dynasties. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sticking with me during that tough Blue Crabs loss to the New York Rangers. And final question from GM Pat. Yes, how do I get girls to like me? What do we need? Kevin wants GM Pat to bring a raid of his hundreds of subscribers. Yeah, GM Pat, it's impressive what you've done on your fake Orioles channel and with your OOTP tutorials over there. Congratulations, by the way, on passing the 700 subscriber mark. That's quite a feat. You're well on your way to the magic number of 1,000 subscribers, where you will begin raking in the bucks from YouTube for your advertising dollars. And I'm sure you have lots of merch plans in the future. I certainly would like a fake Orioles shirt of some type, where you could sell me a product that also doesn't get you sued, if you can figure that out, or just PF Holden on a shirt with a baseball is fine with me. Just get back to me on that stuff. Anyway, thanks. I appreciate you guys checking this out. And until next time, enjoy your fake sports dynasties.